इंडियन फैमिली में एक डिस्कशन तो शाम को रोज होता है कि कल खाने में क्या बन रहा है।
मैं पंजाबी, हमारे घर में हर मील पीरियड पे ये डिस्कस होता है. We see this amazing trend changing that now we are gifting hamper baskets with gourmet products.
So food in Indian culture has always been it's a celebration. Whenever you visit someone's house, people will stuff you with so much of food. Just imagine giving somebody something very exotic on the box. Like that can be a Comté cheese, that can be a Belgium chocolate in the gift box. That changes the whole experience altogether.
Right. Did this thought ever come to your mind that one day I will be sitting with Chef Ajay Chopra and having a podcast? Hello, welcome, namaskar to another episode of the European Union Tadka Podcast. Well, today we are here to discuss about how beautifully India, its food culture and its gifting culture is changing so rapidly. And today I have with me a wonderful personality, a talented chef and an amazing content creator, Chef Sogato. Welcome, Chef Sogato, to this amazing podcast.
Thank you, chef, for the invite.
How you been?
Fantastic so far.
Well, I have known you as a chef, very recently we met about 4-5 years back. But talk to us about your journey. How has this chef journey been? How did you become a chef? What's your family like? All of that.
I belong to a Bengali family. And I'm sure Indian family में एक discussion तो शाम को रोज होता है कि कल खाने में क्या बन रहा है. Like what you're making for tomorrow.
So just for context, I'm a Punjabi. हमारे घर में हर meal period पे ये discuss होता है.
But that's a common thing. I mean, that's what we do every day.
Right.
So, and I'm a foodie. बचपन से ही मतलब from my childhood days I was a foodie. And so I think this is one of the best profession for foodies, like where you can try out different cuisines and eating food from different chefs from around the world. I mean, this is the best profession to work in. So that is how it started. After class 12, I thought of joining as a chef, to join as a hotel management, to start hotel management. And then the journey started from 2010.
Wow. So it's been 15 years.
Yes,
counting?
Yes, still.
And what's excited you the most, or what have been some of those moments where you said, yay, I've achieved this great thing?
As a chef, when you create some classic recipes and when you get compliments from the chef, so I mean, that is the best thing. I mean, if you're feeding Italian dish to an Italian guy and then the guy is saying, yo, this is one of the best thing I've ever tried. So that is the compliment. That's what we thrive for on a day-to-day basis.
And I've seen you cooking some fantastic Italian food. You've run Italian kitchens yourselves, So where did that Italian training happen?
So I started in Kolkata in 2010, as I mentioned. Then in 2015, I moved to Muscat. So I was there for 4 years, worked with almost 9 different Italian chefs. I think that is the best time when I got to learn different cuisines, different regional food from Italy.
Wow. So when you were in Oman working with those Italian chefs, when you were in those big hotels, working in those Italian kitchens, did this thought ever come to your mind that one day I will be sitting with Chef Ajay Chopra and having a podcast?
No, I never thought of. But yeah, that's a blessing, I would say.
I've been noticing a very rapid change in terms of the culture and the food, in India. Cut to 2006 when I was a chef at JW. I remember that that Christmas, we decided not to make a hamper with only bakery goodies. And Chef Vinay Jaraj was there. And he said that, why don't we bring in the olive oils and why don't we bring in the, pastas and, maybe some more sauces or some more gourmet products. And cut to 2021 or 2, I've been seeing that major change happening now in India in terms of gifting. So, Chef, I mean, we see this amazing trend changing that, right from giving sweets or chocolates, now we are gifting hamper baskets with gourmet products. What has your experience been?
So food in Indian culture has always been it's a celebration. Like whenever you talk about Diwali, whenever you talk about Pongal, Poila Boishakh, you take any instance, we always talk about food. Whenever you visit someone's house, मतलब किसी घर पे अगर festival के time पे जाओगे, it's always like people will stuff you with so much of food.
And your expectation is also too that you will be carrying something with you.
You'll be definitely carrying something with you. Over a period of time, things got changed. People are transforming towards the European stuff and they're into more of gourmet things.
Right.
So just imagine giving somebody something very exotic on the box. Like that can be a Comté cheese, that can be a Belgium chocolate in the gift box. That changes the whole experience altogether.
Right. Weddings in India would mean the most priciest fruits, a big basket of fruits presented, right from the time of shagun or the time of, at the time of engagement or marriage, or to the relatives. It always meant a huge fruit basket. That then changed to nuts, then that changed to sweets, then it changed to gourmet sweets, and now it's changing to gourmet products. You're right in saying, because it also shows that, if I am a well-traveled person and I've enjoyed Comté cheese, or I've enjoyed, a good quality balsamic vinegar, or I've enjoyed good quality olive oil, I also want to gift that to that person because it's more long-lasting, it's more amazing, and it's European.
There are a lot of people. I mean, these days people are into experiments. People are seeing Instagram. They're studying a lot of food. I mean, it was not there. The culture was not there a couple of years back.
Right.
So these days, if you find like somebody who's into food, you'll find a lot of exotic stuff in the house. As you mentioned, balsamic.
Yeah.
Like balsamic was not, people were not into balsamics a couple of years back.
Right.
But these days, people are into that. They're trying out dishes out of balsamic reduction. They're trying lovely honey, like Dalmatian honey, if you talk about.
Right.
So all these things are getting incorporated in the regular stuff.
What are the other trends that you're seeing changing in terms of gifting primarily?
So gifting, so as you mentioned, like ingredients, like European ingredients, of course, that is one of the thing. People are trying out something which they have never tried. That is something I would say. So if you talk about like some odd gifts, like cheese, you never thought of gifting cheese to somebody,
Right.
Maybe some exclusive bottle of wine. So all these things are changing day by day.
Changing. Yeah. And people are kind of taking this as more into their stride rather than saying that, oh, I should not be buying imported ingredients. I think people are seeing that change as a very good change, and they're imbibing that change very well. That's also something that I am seeing. But what I'm also seeing is that some of my home baker friends are taking that cheese, or that produce from Europe, and converting that into a beautiful dish and then taking that as a gift. So even that is changing in terms of gifting. But one more thing I would like to ask you is that, this whole progress of thought process in terms of what ingredients to use or what ingredients to pick up, whether it's for gifting or it's for cooking. Previously, it was anything on the shelf. But what has been your experience in terms of that when it comes to today's day and age? You're a content creator, you get a lot of comments yourselves. So what is your thought?
See, people love to experiment, honestly. So if you check these days, even if you see the recipes, they're very improvised. So just imagine a simple vada pav, and you're stuffing it with some imported cheese, like maybe with some manchego. So just a cheese vada pav. So people are actually into experiments. They want to try out dishes, something out of the box. And Indians, they always have a tendency to Indianize everything. So that they love to mix the flavors and they make it in their own way.
Right.
So that is what something people accepting these days. They want to try out. They're excited about it. That is what is like the major difference in last couple of years. What I've seen.
Fantastic. But what has been your journey like? I'm sure that even in your family there was something that kind of drew you to become a chef. And
so we have a business in Kolkata of sweets, basically.
oh wow,
Yeah. So we are into business since last 70 years. Yeah, there was a time when people used to ask like, you know what, in next wedding, in family wedding, we want this specific sweets from this place, like maybe Talshash from Chandanagar. It's very famous in Bengal. So these days, as people are traveling, they want specific ingredient to be used for specific dishes. So that can be like, for example, I want to try tiramisu with mascarpone from Italy. That's how things are changing. Like they want a hummus with maybe azita de mura, olive oil from Portugal. So that is how things are evolving, and that is how people are expecting things to be. And people are very ingredient centric these days.
Right.
They knows what to try. They knows what to eat. Maybe just imagine, and as I was talking about the fusion things, people are trying out the different combination. Just imagine dal makhni with burrata cheese. I mean, it's something out of the box, but just it's a similar thing. You have a
creamy texture.
yeah, a stracciatella inside. So just mix it along with the dal and get something creamy. Just talk about Ellenway cream, that French cream. Something if you make kulfi out of this. So people are very ingredient centric these days. They are like, मुझे यही चाहिए शादी में, मुझे वो वाला ingredients चाहिए. Maybe I want risotto with some beautiful white truffles. So that's how I feel. people are evolving, the concept is evolving, whole ideation is changing.
As you mentioned that, these wedding menus are changing. People are actually slicing and shaving white truffles and black truffles in on plates during weddings as well. So the whole experience is changing. So now in this conversation, I picked up that, people are talking about authentic ingredients. Now, when it comes to customer and people choosing, how have you seen that for a consumer, authenticity has become so important? What are your thoughts?
So as I was talking, like people are traveling these days. So just imagine somebody has traveled to Italy and they've eaten Parmesan cheese, from Parma region. So you can't make that cheese somewhere else. I mean, that is what is all about. That is all about the heritage. That is all about the culture. That's all about the taste specific dish ka. So the moment you come back and as you were talking about the wedding, host this thing to people. So people are very specific about the authentic stuff. This is important, of course, because for this perfect taste and texture. And obviously, as I was talking about the preferences, so that is definitely important, like authentic food.
I think all of that is so important, and you touched upon a very important aspect because when we talk about European Union ingredients, what I love about these ingredients is that they're coming from 27 different member states, and all the member states have to follow these four pillars of authenticity, safety, quality, and sustainability. And each European Union ingredient passes through stringent tests, to make sure that everything that is coming to your table is under these four pillars. It's checked properly. It cannot leave the borders. It cannot leave the factory, in fact, if it's not under this. And that brings me to my next topic of, talking about PDO and PGI labels and how important they are to you as a chef. Talk to me about your experiences. How do you manage these four pillars and how do you see these four pillars?
See, as a chef, I mean, it's very common for both of us. Like when you are, when you're curating a recipe or whenever you're running a restaurant, a few things you follow as well. I'm sure it has to be authentic, of course, the standardization of recipes. So the quality ingredients which you're getting, you need to, of course, you need to be stress free. You don't need to think about it because so whenever you're making a dish, curating recipes, you are into 10,000 things happening around you. It's very difficult to check the quality every time. So the moment you know that it has a label PGI or maybe PDO levels, that you are sure, you're very assured keep what you're getting for the next batch.
Right.
And also whenever you're writing recipes or whenever you're making the dishes, you don't have to think on ki, maybe today's batch is going to be different from the last one.
Right.
So your consistency remains something, your dishes remain very consistent, the taste, the flavor, the texture. That is something, I mean, very important. That's why I feel ki these labels are very important for my daily operations because you can be stress free because I don't have so much of time to focus on ki, okay, let's taste every cheese. So that is what.
Excellent. So I'm just gathering from what you said, and you did mention about PDO and PGI labels. What do these mean to you?
One factor is it has to be from a specific region. Second factor, that one of the process that has to be from a particular zone or a region.
Right.
So you cannot produce Parmesan cheese everywhere in the world. You cannot produce that Gorgonzola everywhere. You can.
I mean, you could produce, but it cannot be called as Parmigiano Reggiano.
Exactly.
Because it's a PDO product and the designated origin must be mentioned, then only it will become authentic.
Absolutely.
And I think in my travels, what I have seen is any product that goes into a PDO or a PGI category happens because the recipe of creating that product is age old. And they have really respected their authenticity in that manner. They don't want to, recreate the wheel in literal sense. A Parmesan wheel, for example. It was tried, it was tested, it was done, it was introduced in the market, and it has had a good response. So Parmigiano Reggiano will be the same which it was 70 years back, for example. If you're creating a new cheese, for example, Comte is a much newer cheese than Parmesan, then it will be variety will be different. But again, if it's going to that PDO, you rightly said that PDO would mean that every single process of that product has to be in the same place of origin. And PGI, as you said, that at least one process should be followed in the making of that product. So for everybody else, you just heard these terms called PDO and PGI, and you must be wondering what chefs are talking about. So PDO really means as product of designated origin, which means that every single step of making that product is actually done in that area, and that is how we will get a PDO label. And the second is PGI, which means product of geographical indication, which means that if there is one produce that is getting made, for example, olive oil, one step of creating that olive oil should be done in that region, which means either the olives are coming from that region or the bottling is happening in that region. One of the processes has to be from that region, and that makes the product very, very sure. It is as good as our ISI mark.
So, chef, there are few ingredients which I know about as well, like PDO, PGI. One of the wines, like Kamtal, that's a PDO.
You also talked about Dalmatian honey. That's also
Dalmatian honey, yes.
That's also from Croatia. That's a PDO product.
Lovely. Even Comte, that's a PDO product.
Right.
So,
wow. I mean, you've actually read your labels well and you know your products very well. I'm very impressed.
thank you.
So now moving on to the next thought process, where we in India are seeing that amazing huge change. But what I also see is a cross-cultural, kind of breaking the boundaries kind of food that all the chefs are cooking. I mean, today, we are no longer just sitting behind. We are in Asia's best restaurant lists, and a lot of those restaurants are giving a new face to Indian food. And a lot of them are also using non-Indian ingredients. So what has been your thought process on the same thing?
See, the moment you mix the ingredients, like the entire dish becomes very interesting. Just imagine you're making a dosa, a neat dosa. You're serving with a datarino tomato chutney. So your thought process, your ideation becomes very different. Your the taste, the way you think food, it completely transformed to some different level altogether.
Right.
So even if you're making Indian dessert, just imagine gajar ka halwa or maybe a kheer, just topped with some Dalmatian honey. So you get
Or a pesto paneer tikka.
Oh, even we last time I prepared a malai paneer tikka with some truffle oil. So you can actually use your ideation. I mean, you can use a lot of your thought process behind a dish. Of course, the classic dishes are completely different. But the moment you change, the moment you make something very different to the table, also the guest becomes very excited. Ki, okay, I didn't try this. Let's try it out.
Yeah. So I think that in all our Indian kitchens is happening. People are kind of exploring newer flavors, newer products. And like you rightly said that, taking a classic and probably giving it a new twist. Like that malai paneer tikka with some truffle oil is an amazing example, because if we think about it as a chef, where do you use truffle oil? You use in nice creamy things, so cream has to be kind of backing up that truffle oil flavor, or cheese has to be backing up that truffle oil flavor. And here both the things are there, so kind of it will elevate the entire dish. So that's a beautiful example. But
even if you think about just fish fry, Bengali fish fry,
right,
serving with some pommery mustard, some mayonnaise. So it's a very different, it's the same green mustard with a different flavor.
Yeah.
So if you mix the whole ingredient, then the experience becomes completely different. Yeah, मैंने वो restaurant में ये खाया था. I have never tried this before.
Correct.
So that becomes a memory.
Correct. Now, when you talk about celebration, food is very, very important. We've talked about bigger celebration. We've talked about weddings. We've talked about banquetings, giftings. But what about those small celebrations, when you have today, I mean, there is no limit to the days. Previously we only had birthdays, anniversary days, maybe, good mark days where our parents would say that, okay, let's come and rejoice and have a celebration. But today there is Rose Day, there is Couples Day,
Rose is a day.
Daddy's Day, Mummy's Day, this day, that day, hundreds of days, and people are celebrating all of them.
Yeah.
What is your thought process on that? How do you tackle these small celebrations?
See, for me, every day can be a celebration. I mean, हो सकता है आज ऑफिस अच्छा गया, आज का दिन अच्छा था, शाम को सेलिब्रेट कर दे. Let's sit down, eat some great food. And being a chef, I mean, food is something that connects me everywhere.
Right.
I mean, if you come back from the work, I mean, even if you're like, kal chutti hai, so that becomes a day.
Right.
So every day is something you can enjoy. You can create some great food. Of course, being a chef, it's not about being a chef also. If you are like, if somebody who wants to eat, who loves to cook, I mean, for him or her, it's a celebration if you are getting time for yourself. And a lot of people told me that cooking itself, like, it heals you. I mean, even if you're not feeling right, it's a relaxing. Like, agar aapko aaj अच्छा नहीं लगा, maybe I'm cooking a great food. Maybe aaj pulao banate hain. Aaj let's make some best chicken curry, or maybe let's make paneer. So, food is a healer.
Right.
I mean, food is something that makes your mood right, that makes you feel good. Breakup हो गया आज कुछ खा लेते हैं. I mean, अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. Let's eat
Yeah.
something.
So food is healing to every single
Everything.
variety of disease or happiness or anything.
Everywhere.
That's superb because, you know, even I relate to this. I mean, you have good days and bad days. And whilst every Sunday, my children are looking forward to what daddy is going to cook for sure. But
My Bengali family में Sundays are mutton day. आज मटन बनेगा. अब if you check any family, Bengali family in Kolkata,
Yeah.
Sunday मटन मतलब मटन का दुकान के बाहर इतना लंबा लाइन लगता है.
Right.
Like that shows कि आज Sunday है.
Arts and family, I think me and my wife, you know, look forward to those quiet times when everything is happened, the day is over, children have gone to sleep, and then we open a good bottle of wine and some good cheese and some good nuts and crackers, and then we just spend that hour sipping with some wine and some cheese. I think that's for me is a great ending to a week because we try to do that every Sunday. Great talking to you, Chef. I think there's a lot of things that we kind of ran through, talked about, because whenever I meet you, I think I get that spark, I get that fun element with you. And I've seen very little chefs who take life, you know, in that manner, enjoy every moment, cook every moment, live life king size. I think that's who you are. Continue to do that. And I wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you, chef, for this invite. And I think we're meeting after almost 1 year.
Yeah,
We're
almost.
looking same, fresh, excited, but pleasure meeting after a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.